What would happen if I told you that, today, under the city of Lima are the Lima catacombs? This is an impressive underground cemetery located beneath the capital of Peru. It houses the remains of numerous people, and its limits remain unknown. The catacombs are located in the convent of San Francisco de Asís, located in the heart of Lima. Under this emblematic temple in the Peruvian capital, rest the remains of thousands of people who were buried during the centuries of Spanish domination. Professor Cayetano Villavicencio is an expert on the subject and navigates easily among the piles of femurs and skulls that fill these dark passages. His dedication to the study and preservation of this place is evident, and his passion for it is undeniable. He claims this is the largest underground cemetery in Latin America, a claim supported by the Peruvian government's tourism promotion pages. Although the convent itself is a jewel of colonial Baroque art, built in 1535 during the expansion of the religious orders, what most captivates visitors are the carefully aligned skulls, femurs, collarbones, and other bones, which in the past were part of a cemetery. Skulls and femurs are the bones that are most found, since they are the ones that are best preserved over time, explains Villavicencio, also mentioning other bone remains such as sternums and tailbone fragments. The exact number of people buried here remains a mystery. The most common estimates indicate at least 25,000 burials, but Professor Villavicencio believes there could be more than 100,000. In addition, it is believed that there are numerous corridors and galleries still unexcavated, which increases the enigma of the total number of people resting in this historic place. The Lima catacombs are an impressive underground cemetery located beneath the capital of Peru. These sepulchral crypts are located in the convent of San Francisco de Asís and are particularly fascinating to tourists due to the large number of skeletal remains displayed neatly lined up in what used to be a cemetery. Rediscovered in the late 1940s, the catacombs have been laid out for public display, becoming a labyrinth of galleries filled with bones, which can be chilling to the most squeamish visitors. To ensure safety and prevent tourists from getting lost, the route has been clearly marked. Although the catacombs of the convent of San Francisco de Asís are the most impressive due to the number of remains they house, mass burials have also been discovered in other churches in Lima, such as those of San Lazaro, Santa Ana, and the Church of the Santísimo Corazón de Jesus, which is popularly known as the Church of the Orphans. In the latter, numerous remains of buried children have been found. Archaeologist Peter Van Dalen, from the Universidad Nacional Mayor de San Marcos, explains that these funerary structures are associated with churches, convents, and monasteries, and in colonial times, they were used to bury the entire population that lived in Lima and its surroundings. It is for this reason that these places contain a large number of human remains, providing a fascinating historical perspective on life and death at that time. What attracts visitors most are the skulls, femurs, and collarbones carefully aligned in the catacombs of Lima, which were once a cemetery. The catacombs of the convent of San Francisco are particularly impressive due to the large number of remains they contain, and since they were rediscovered in the late 1940s, they have been put on public display. This labyrinth of galleries full of bones can be creepy for the most sensitive visitors, so the route has had to be carefully marked to prevent tourists from getting lost or scared. In addition to the convent of San Francisco, mass burials have been discovered in other churches in Lima, such as those of San Lazaro, Santa Ana, and the Church of the Santísimo Corazón de Jesus, known as the Church of the Orphans, where numerous remains of children were found, buried. These catacombs are associated with churches, convents, and monasteries, and during the colonial era, they were used to bury the entire population that lived in Lima and its surroundings. Initially, they were intended for religious people, but over time, due to epidemics and earthquakes, civil burials were also carried out. The widespread belief then was that being buried under a temple facilitated closeness to God and, therefore, the salvation of the soul. As for those buried in the catacombs of the convent of San Francisco, there were no exclusions due to social hierarchy. Spaniards, Creoles, Indians, and blacks were buried. Mostly, they were members of brotherhoods that were installed in the side altars of the church, since at that time, brotherhoods were a common form of social grouping. Most of the remains in the Lima catacombs have no identification, and it is unknown who they belong to. However, among them there are also prominent figures of the time, such as Garcia Sarmiento de Sotomayor, who was viceroy of Peru between 1648 and 1655. The bodies were usually deposited without a coffin, one next to the other, separated only by piles of earth that covered them. When one row of corpses was filled, they began to bury another on top, and so on. In the 19th century, the crypts were walled up. But in 1949, the Franciscan monks of the convent decided to open them to explore their contents and found a large number of bones scattered on the floor. This discovery caught the attention of local media and became a museum accessible to the public. Although the exact number of people who were buried in the Lima catacombs is unknown, they were no longer used for underground burials in 1821, when General José de San Martín proclaimed the independence of Peru and prohibited this practice to improve health in the area. City. In 1808, the General Cemetery of Lima, currently known as the Presbítero Maestro Cemetery, was inaugurated, but the local population initially resisted burying themselves there and burials continued in churches for some years. However, over time this custom was gradually abandoned. To learn more about the catacombs of Lima, the collaboration of archaeologists and historians is required to rigorously investigate the place. It has been documented that the small square near the convent and the Basilica of San Francisco was a cemetery during colonial times, and it is suspected that the sepulchral crypts were connected to it. However, conducting more extensive investigations can be complicated due to potential safety issues, landslides, and lack of oxygen in more remote areas with restricted access. Colonial archaeology also faces budget limitations in Peru, making it difficult to study and adequately preserve. And in this way, we would be reaching the end of the video. Remember to leave your thumb up to support our project as well as subscribe. Leave me in the comments and tell me, what do you think about this topic? We will be happy to read it. Thank you very much in advance for watching the video, and we'll see you next time.